Well, hi, friends. Pro-life leader Frank Pavone here, bringing you my daily diary segment. What did I do from Monday, July the 7th through Thursday, July the 10th of 2025? Well, these were office days. I started out on Monday the 7th early with work at my desk and dealing in the morning and during the day with the following topics: the Ireland March for Life, follow up on that. We were supportive of that manifestation of pro-life conviction on the other side of the ocean. July upper donor letters, preparation for our Praying for America broadcasts, approval of an email blast, communication with Steve Deese, on whose program I've been interviewed, e-blast, I mentioned that app, the Priest for Life app, a new app that we're developing, and approval for a fax going out to all the churches. Met with staff, and then at 10 a.m. I had my live scripture broadcast. Many of you watched that. Then some work at my desk, a connection with other staff, and then at 11:30 I was back in the studio taping the Praying for America program. After that, I met with one of the ladies in our donation department, and then I left the office just to go up the street for my annual eye exam. My eyes are fine. Everything is good. The doctor was happy. Then I came back and had a 2:30 phone call with one of our donors. And then 3 o'clock, as I mentioned, Steve Deese had me on for a long format interview. So I was on for like 90 minutes being interviewed. That was really a great discussion. After that, had end of day work to catch up on at my desk, starting to get end of day reports from the staff. Then at 5 o'clock, had a meeting with one of our executives who oversees the finance department. We were making some plans and doing some updates. And then at 5:30, I had an update meeting with Mark from our executive team. And then in the evening, went over to our executive director's office and over on Merritt Island. And she had just recently purchased the Reagan movie. Now, many of you have seen that. It's really great. It's worth watching. One of our greatest presidents. And so I was able to watch that over at her office, and did some work together with her on administrative things, and then came back to Titusville. Tuesday, July the 8th, again, working early at my desk. I like the early morning quiet hours, and did some updating on liturgical online resources for clergy. How do you preach on abortion from the readings that are assigned to each particular Sunday? Some things worked at my desk and my computer. The upcoming meeting of the 115 Forum, the pro-life leaders. Approval of appeals, working with another leader about educational efforts about the abortion pill, the drug regimen. The IRS had an interesting statement they came out with recently about churches being allowed to speak politically and endorse candidates. We've been arguing for this for many years, so I prepared some comments about that. Some interaction with some leaders in the arena of judicial nominations, approval of a fax to go out to the churches, some communication with my team about our Rumble accounts, and preparation for our Radio Maria radio broadcast. At 10 o'clock, I was in the studio doing the live scripture daily reflections. Then I met with our studio team and video team. And then at 11 o'clock, I had a 1-hour Zoom meeting with the national leaders in abortion healing ministry. And the main presenter was one of our own team members, Dr. Teresa Burke, who founded Rachel's Vineyard, a ministry of Priests for Life. And so I participated in that call of the Abortion Recovery Coalition. At the conclusion of that, had some lunch, caught up on some emails, and then had a 1 o'clock meeting with our website manager and our social media manager, doing a discussion about promotion of upcoming trips, events I do out on the road. We want you to see those events. We want you to know about those events. So we talked about better promotion. Then at 2:30, I had a phone call with a young pro-life leader from up in Rhode Island, planning a visit there. And then at 3 o'clock, a phone call with our executive director together with our Rachel's Vineyard team talking about ideas for the continued growth of Rachel's Vineyard, the largest ministry in the world for healing after abortion. Then I continued meeting with our executive director on various projects and also trip plans. At 4 o'clock, I had a meeting with Mark, one of our executives, together with our fundraising manager, and we were making plans. At 4:30, I had a meeting with one of the ladies who manages on our staff phone calls to donors. That was at 4:30. Then at 5 o'clock, went with one of my staff down the street and got my car washed and cleaned. And then came back to the office, got end of day updates from staff. At 6:30, I took my daily walk, and in the course of that, had a phone conversation with Mark, one of our executives. And then I had a couple of evening phone calls before and after dinner, one of them with one of our donors and another one with a key conservative broadcaster, and we're making some plans together. Wednesday, July the 9th. Again, up early at my desk, dealing with topics like a letter to deacons around the country. You know, we have our Deacons for Life outreach. Revisions of liturgical resources online, as I mentioned to you. Approval of an action alert, working with staff to make sure our digitizing project is complete, making brochures and books available to you in digital format on our online store. Communication about our prospecting mailings, communications about my Rhode Island trip upcoming and other trips, communication with Alveda King, a close associate, communication about pro-lifer Mark Crosby, one of those that suffered violence as he peacefully prayed in front of abortion facilities. We really get them mad, you know, when we take away their business by saving lives. I went down to Merritt Island to do a favor for our executive director who's still recovering from knee surgery. So I took the Priest for Life mascots, the dogs, the 3 of them that you sometimes see on these social media accounts. I took them for their grooming, dropped them off there. Came back to my studio, did the live scripture broadcast, and then some short videos that we wanted to tape. Interacted with staff during the course of the rest of the morning and into lunchtime. Had a 2 p.m. interview with Alveda King for one of our programs, as well as an interview with Mary, our correspondence associate. We did Mary first and then Alveda. That was from 2 to 3. At 3 o'clock, I had a meeting over the phone with several of our executives, and that was in reference to my reinstatement to priesthood and getting our communications with the Vatican finalized. Then I met with one of the ladies in the gift entry department, and then with the whole department. They give me like a monthly update on certain aspects of their work. Then I went back into the studio at 4:30. That was a 4:30. Let's see, wait a minute. Yeah, that was a 4 o'clock meeting with gift entry. And then at 4:30, I was back in the studio. And for about a half hour, did more taping of new liturgical resources online. Then I went back to the groomer and picked up the dogs, brought them down to Janet's home, and had some work session with her on various upcoming projects and updates with staff, and then came back to Titusville. And finally, on Thursday, the 10th of July, up early working on various things such as plans for donor calls, digitizing of products, the liturgical videos, upcoming trips, communication with Coach Kennedy, who won that big Supreme Court case about prayer, and we're going to have him on our program again. Communication with staff about responses to our donor surveys and responding to them based on those responses. Some of them want to be more active in specific projects that we're doing, and so we have staff get back to them about that. Maybe some of you are among them. Approval of an appeal, an invitation to a prominent pro-life attorney to come on one of our voter training calls. Approval of a press release, approval of an opinion piece, and more communication about Deacons for Life. I did our 10 a.m. live scripture broadcast on Thursday, the 10th. After that, I had an 11 a.m. meeting with our executive team that handles our monthly newsletters, and we were looking at the entire year and planning out some topics to be covered. And then I also continued with meeting with our executive director and social media director about some new ways to increase our audiences. Then just before noon, I connected with a local Florida pro-life leader, and we went out to lunch, and he wanted to explain to me over lunch some new project that he's working on. I gave him my input about that. Came back to the office, did some additional quick checking in with staff and emails, and then drove down for another doctor's appointment, routine appointment, and everything turned out great. Doctor's very happy with my health. Came back to the office, had a 4 p.m. interview online with a podcaster, continued at my desk with work of updates from staff, had a meeting then later in the afternoon with our social media director. We talked about artificial intelligence. We use it every day, and we're mapping out curricular materials for the staff to use in a more coordinated and effective way. And then that was like at 4:45, went till about 5:15. And then at 6, I had an update call with Mark, our executive. And while I was having that call, I took my daily half-hour walk. And after all that, I had dinner and then went to bed early. And those were my activities from Monday, the 7th of July through Thursday, the 10th of July, 2025. Hope your days are going well. Let's stay strong in our work.